Hi everybody, welcome back to another episode of Success Tidbits. It's Jason here with Remax Realty Specialist. I just closed on this property behind me and won it through a multiple offer situation. Now we are in February of 2020 and of course we're back into multiple offer territory. So I'm going to teach you on this episode how to win some multiple offers in a hot market. If you see my last my last video on how to win a multiple offer situation part 1. That was when the market was really cranking in 2017. In 2020, we're not so there yet, but we are reaching up to that point. So this is part 2 of how to win a bidding war, but it's cold, so let's head inside and I'll give you guys my tips. Okay, so we're back inside in the warmth now. So with the previous episode that I did, how to win a bidding war part 1. So as I mentioned, that was in 2017. The market was really cranking at that point. And there were some tips on that that were still useful as well. So I'll leave a link in this video here too, so you can refer back to that, because you should watch part 1 and then part 2, and you put those together and then you should have a plan for success. So in part 1, just briefly, what I went over it with was you have to have a firm offer. You have to be over asking. That still applies now. So I'll touch on that again. The other advice was, offer as much as you can. That if you lose by $1,000, you would say that's fine, because $1,000 was too much anyways. I was really kind of maxed out in my budget, or just psychologically. The other part in the previous video was your comparables are at the trailing edge, so you use that as a leading indicator. Number 4 there was go crazy, offer something unexpected, and of course on the last part was figure out your dollar multiplication factor per the offers, and that's a little bit more of an advanced technique, so please refer back to the other video. So in this video, what I want to talk to you, something that still applies is, of course, going firm and over asking. So when you're in multiple offer situation, the sellers, they want the best offer. They just want their money, right? And it's not fair for buyers. We get it, and it's just the way it is. That's how multiple offer situations work, right? In Ontario here, we don't have auctions and things like that too. But even in auctions, it's still highest bidder wins. So you have to have a firm offer to win. It usually is over asking. That's usually the formula there. And what I mean by firm offer, no conditional financing, no conditional inspection, no conditional whatever status certificate. Not saying that don't do that totally, but do that beforehand, so that when you come do the offer, you don't have to put all these conditions in. You've already done your due diligence beforehand. The next part that I want to talk about was closing date. Give the seller the closing date that they wanted. So once again, this is all about giving the seller what they want. So give them the price, give them no conditions, so they can just, done, deal's done. Give them the deposit. That's actually the next part. So first, go give them the closing date that they wanted. Make some arrangement that you may have to either rent a little bit longer, or stay with family a little bit longer, or maybe move a little bit sooner. But if you give the seller the closing that they want, that's another thing that works into your favor. Now, the next part was, of course, having your deposit ready. So when you're offering on a property, you have to have a deposit amount. Depending on the property type, it's either between $5,000 up to $50,000, depending, of course, property type and purchase price. But have that deposit ready in an account that you could pull out within 24 hours, not having in a savings account that you have to wait 24 to 48 hours to pull that money out. You got to call your investment advisors. You should do that already. So have that money ready, and have your deposit money ready in an account you can pull out immediately, within 24 hours after acceptance of the offer. Or to take it even a step further, have that bank draft ready with the offer. So you submit your offer, and then on your agent will put deposit is either on upon acceptance or here within. Here within is, I have the deposit ready, I did a bank draft, I'm super serious, here's my offer, here's the money. So what that does is gives the seller comfort of mind to say, hey, this guy is super serious, he has the cash, and he has the offer that I kind of want. I'm going to very consider them. So the next part is, it's a little bit more of, once again, an advanced strategy. Some people feel comfortable with it, some people don't. And how I won this property behind me is you use the good old buyer letter. So this is an actual letter that I use, that I put with the offer, and it just gives a little picture about myself, who I am as a buyer, and just a little background. on the intentions that I want to do with the property, and just let them know that I am a human being. I have my own needs. I know the seller has their needs, but let's see if we can put a human aspect to that, and makes your offer stand out just a little bit, because some offers, they just come price. They may not even have the price that they want. They might not even have the deposit ready or the closing date. But if you do all these other things and have the buyer letter with that too, you do stand out from the crowd. And it can be, whatever you want in that buyer letter that makes you feel comfortable, that you feel that the seller would, kind of relate to. Because there's an old saying that behind every transaction is a person. Behind every person, that person has feelings and emotions. So you may tap into that, or say relate to that person. Some people are just analytical. They just want the numbers. But you may have a person that is a little bit more amiable. You have to understand the 4 different property style, 4 different personality types to kind of craft your letter. But of course, we don't know what the seller looks like or their personality is, right? So if you have all these factors plus a buyer letter, you may tap into somebody that is a little more amiable. They may actually like what you're talking about. Okay, another point that can work is when to notify your interest. So when buyer presentations happen, there's a certain date and time that offers have to be registered. I'll give you an example. In this property here, the offer date was, I think it was like a Tuesday at 7. So I was curious on how much interest there was on the property, because there was a lot of cards on the table, thinking there was going to be, oh my God, it's a rental project, which it is, and there's going to be like 20 people going to offer on it. But it was a lot of work, right? So it was a bit of a scare to, of course, no more buyers. No more buyer bid on this property. It was only investors that bid on it. So what happened was, you wait until the last minute, until offer registration time, and call the office and see how many offers are registered, right? If there's like 6 or 7 offers, then okay, yeah, you can go in. But if there's no offers in, just wait. Don't show your hands early, right? If you're super interested, just kind of wait and say, you know what, I'm not even interested anymore. And then it's like when you negotiate, you just shut up. See how awkward that was? And you wait for the other person to speak and show their hand. So that's how that works. So it doesn't work in all scenarios. Sometimes you have a super interested buyer that's like really emotionally invested in the property, and they put their hand up right away, and then the bee's nest opens up and everybody registers offers. But you may have a property that is kind of, that some people, they offer on, they will be interested in, but they won't offer or register their offer until the very last minute. Because that could open up a scenario that the listing agent must say, oh, hey, you know what? Are you interested? Maybe here, I'll hint you out a little bit more what's going on here. And of course, you don't open the bee's nest and let everybody offer at the same time too. So that could be another strategy. Just kind of wait till the last minute to register your offer. Maybe nobody else was interested. Maybe you'll get a little bit more feedback from the seller to help you kind of negotiate and craft your offer. In the best case scenario is nobody else is offering, and then you offer at the last minute and they just, come take your offer. They'd be interested. All right, the last point I want to talk about is a bit of a sticky point, and it's giving up the realtor's commission. Whoa, I know some realtors, if you're watching this, you're like, whoa, I don't do that. I know, we don't like doing that because that is our paycheck. Sometimes we work and get paid, and sometimes we don't get paid. Like I have a check here. Like I have a check that has $0 on it. I got paid 0 one time, right? So that just happens when you work commission. So I know with agents, we don't really like doing that, but it's usually a signal from one agent to another agent that, listen, these buyers are serious, we're all in, there's nothing left that we can do. So that when the agent says we're giving up my part of the commission, that's usually a hint to the agent that, like, listen, we're serious, don't ask for us for any more money, because the money's coming from something else, right? So, and that's how I won this property. So I wasn't the best offer on this property, but because as an agent, I'm able to work with the commission on myself. So I talked to hey, Mr. Buyer, yes, I really want this property. What can you do? Okay, so I'm an agent. I can work with the numbers a bit. So I was lower than the highest offer here, but because I was able to work with the back end, the numbers worked out even better. Plus I had all the buyer letter and all the other tips that I explained previous, and that's how I won this property there too. So I know that's a bit of a sticky situation. you as buyers, when you talk to your agent, they may say no, some may say yes. That's kind of a personal thing too. But that is another strategy that you can use. And once again, like I said, it's usually a hint from an agent to an agent when they say, listen, I'm going to work with the numbers. That means, you know, as a buyer, there's nothing left. Don't ask for any more money. We're all in. Or even on the seller side too, you know, if you're working with sellers and say, listen, I can work with the numbers a bit, it's also an indicator like we're end of the rope here, right? So there's nothing left. So we usually use that as a last dish strategy because that's usually the white flag saying I'm done. So hopefully these tips were very helpful for you. Please watch video number 1, How to Win a Bidding War Part 1, and this is How to Win a Bidding War Part 2. If you do have any questions, please reply to this video, or you can reach me out to my website, mypropertyconsultant.ca. And hey, listen, it's bidding war time. You will lose out on offers. You will. I lost out on 8 on my last property. On this one here, I was lucky as the only property I wanted to offer on, but there was 5 different offers, but those 4 other buyers, they lost as well, right? So you will lose offers in a bidding war scenario like this type of market, but just keep sending out offers, and that's how you win. You just keep shooting out offers and you eventually hit one. So hopefully this helps, and like I said, if you have any questions, just please reach out to me. So this is How to Win a Bidding War Part 2, and these right here, those are your success tidbits for this month.